Hello, welcome again to another video on understanding insurance claims. Today we're going to be looking at the homeowner policy, the typical homeowner policy, and more or less what kind of policy is it. Now you'll hear the terminology, an open peril policy, a named peril policy, and whatever. Ordinarily, your homeowner policies will be open peril, and by open peril I mean that all things are covered unless they're specifically excluded. So no policy will cover every possible event, but the insurance industry has used the terminology open peril because it more or less says all of these things are covered, but there are too many things that are covered to list in the policy. So we'll just say anything that's not excluded is covered. Now you will find, ordinarily you will find that under your contents, your personal property, you're going to find named perils for which your policy covers. Usually they're going to be like 16 different perils. You'll have things like fire, lightning, winds, and so forth. But those will be specifically named. Now some of the newer policies, especially the H05 policy, that's beginning to be written, you will find that it's open peril for both coverage A, which is your dwelling, coverage B is your other structures coverage that are not attached to your home, and also for your personal property. So you'll see that in some cases you'll have open peril coverage for all of your various coverages, like your dwelling, your other structures, and your contents. Now all policies will have some exclusions, and I want to be sure that that is emphasized. Over the years I've had people tell me that, well, my policy really doesn't cover anything. Well, there are some instances that when you have a loss, that your loss is not covered. But for the most part, when a person presents an insurance claim, their claim is going to be covered at least in part. So in most cases, it's fair to say that most of the things that you normally will insure against will be covered under your policy, whether it's under coverage A, B, on your open peril coverages, or under C, your named peril coverages. Things like fire, wind, theft, tornado, things of that nature, the things that we normally think of. Now things like earthquake may have to be specifically endorsed in your policy. In other words, you may have to request this, and your company will charge you an extra premium if they even write earthquake coverage. Now one of the main things that will not be covered under your homeowner policy is flood insurance. And that's one of the things I wanted to point out here, because a lot of people think, okay, a flood's covered. No, floods are not covered under your homeowner policy. You have to have specific coverage to cover flood. Now you can have broken water pipes in your home that are covered, but that's not considered flood. Also, you will find that a lot of the exclusions they're pretty common throughout the industry. You'll find that there are some exclusions that may be in one policy, that may not be in another policy, but by and large the policy is going to cover a lot of the same exclusions. And in other videos we'll be looking at what some of those exclusions are and how they would apply to your particular loss. The newer homeowner policy, the H05, which is called a comprehensive policy, it's not being written in a great number right now, but more than likely it will be later. The old HO policies, you had your HO1, which had very limited coverage. You had your HO2, which was a named peril policy for both your dwelling, your other structures, and for your contents. But most of the HO policies you see today are your HO3. It's a special form policy, and again it has open peril coverage for A and B, dwelling and other structures. B is the other structures, A is the dwelling, and C is your personal property, which will normally be named. So I hope this video helps somewhat and sheds a little light on what your policy will cover. And in other videos we will be looking at other exclusions that would be pertinent to your policy, and we'll be looking at those more in detail, so you'll have a better understanding of what's covered under your policy and what's not covered. And again, I ask you to contact your agent if you have any questions, because your agent and your company are the best ones to advise you on what your policy covers. But I just want to make sure that just want to provide some information so people can have some understanding. And I know, being in the business, a lot of times insurance adjusters will throw terms around like open peril coverage, named peril coverage, and so forth. And the homeowner, the insured, may not know what those terms mean. So hopefully after this video, you will have some understanding of what those terms mean. And again, I thank you for watching, and I hope if this video has been of some assistance to you and you see some benefit in it, that you'll hit the subscribe button and be looking for a lot more videos in the future. Again, I thank you and I hope you have a wonderful day.